If you look closely at your financial life over time, you may notice a pattern that feels almost counterintuitive, where income increases, opportunities expand, and yet the sense of financial progress does not accelerate in the way you expected, and in many cases, it feels like your expenses are quietly keeping pace or even moving slightly ahead. This is not simply a matter of poor discipline or lack of awareness, but rather a predictable interaction between human psychology and the structure of modern economic systems, where each increase in income subtly reshapes your perception of what is normal, necessary, and justified. At the core of this dynamic is a psychological recalibration process, where the brain continuously adjusts its baseline for comfort and stability based on current conditions, meaning that what once felt like a luxury gradually becomes perceived as a standard, and what once felt sufficient begins to feel restrictive. When income rises, this recalibration does not happen consciously, but through small, seemingly reasonable decisions, such as upgrading living space, improving convenience, or reducing friction in daily routines, all of which individually feel justified, yet collectively reshape the financial structure you operate within. From a behavioral perspective, this pattern is reinforced by the way humans evaluate relative change rather than absolute value, meaning that a salary increase feels like progress in isolation, but when paired with proportional increases in lifestyle costs, the net effect becomes neutral or even slightly negative in terms of long-term capital accumulation. This is why someone can move from one income level to another and still feel financially constrained, not because the income is insufficient, but because the system surrounding that income has expanded to absorb it. When we examine the math behind this, the mechanism becomes clearer, because expenses often scale in a way that is not strictly linear but layered, where fixed costs increase in steps rather than smooth increments. For example, moving to a larger home does not just increase rent or mortgage payments, but also utilities, maintenance, and associated lifestyle costs, creating a compounding effect on spending. Similarly, transportation upgrades, subscription services, and convenience-based spending tend to accumulate in parallel, forming a network of recurring expenses that are easy to overlook individually but significant when combined. Over time, this creates a structural imbalance where income growth is partially or fully offset by expanding obligations, and because these obligations are often framed as improvements in quality of life, they are rarely questioned once adopted. The result is a system where financial progress slows, not because earning potential has stalled, but because the efficiency of capital allocation has declined, and this distinction is critical for understanding why many individuals feel stuck despite measurable progress in income. On a broader scale, this pattern is not accidental but aligned with economic incentives that encourage consumption as a driver of growth, where access to credit, social signaling, and cultural expectations all reinforce the idea that higher income should translate into higher spending. This creates an environment where maintaining a stable lifestyle at a higher income level often requires continuous income maintenance, reducing flexibility and increasing dependence on consistent earnings. The shift that changes this trajectory is not necessarily earning more, but recognizing that income and expenses operate as interconnected systems rather than isolated variables, and that controlling the rate at which expenses expand is as important as increasing income itself. This requires a subtle but important change in perspective, where financial decisions are evaluated not only by their immediate benefit, but by their long-term impact on system efficiency and optionality. As this awareness develops, the focus gradually moves away from reacting to income changes and toward designing a structure where increases in income do not automatically translate into proportional increases in spending, allowing surplus capital to accumulate and compound over time. This does not eliminate the desire for improvement or comfort, but introduces intentionality into how those improvements are integrated into the system. In the end, the reason expenses often grow faster than income is not due to a single decision or mistake, but because of a continuous series of small adjustments that align your financial life with your current level of earnings, and unless that alignment is consciously managed, it will naturally expand to match whatever level of income you reach, shaping the pace and direction of your long-term financial trajectory.